Hello everyone, welcome to another lecture of Strength of Materials. My name is Aprup Rao and we are in the last few lectures of Strength of Material. We started from the very beginning, lecture 1. We started from the basic, and in a few lectures we will end the complete syllabus of Strength of Materials. So if you have not seen my other videos after this lecture ends, please go to the playlist of Strength of Material and watch all my lectures one by one. And apart from strength of material, we have a lot many subjects, we have a lot many lectures. So don't forget to subscribe this channel. If you have not subscribed it till now, please go and subscribe and hit the notification bell icon so that you will be notified whenever we are online. We are posting live video lectures of all the subjects related to GATE, related to engineering services, related to SSC JEE, any competitive exams of mechanical engineering. So please go and subscribe the channel. And my friend, in the description of the video there is a link to our Telegram channel. So don't forget to follow that channel too, because we will be posting all the relevant study material on that channel. So follow the Telegram channel right now, my friend. Okay, now my friend, after strength of material we are going to start machine design. So in a few lectures, 2-3 more lectures, strength of material will end, and from 7th of May we will start machine design. The entire schedule we have already discussed in a video, so please go and watch that video if you want the entire schedule of May month. We have been coming with very new subjects, we have been coming with very good initiatives. So there will be a lot of videos this month, so don't forget to watch all these videos, my friend. And my friend, I am an educator on Unacademy Plus. So whatever we are posting here on YouTube, this is just a trailer, my friend. If you want a more structured learning, if you want the entire classroom experience, if you want to learn for GATE or engineering services, if you are serious enough, and if you want to learn all these subjects one by one in a sequential manner, then go and subscribe to Unacademy Plus, my friend. Unacademy Plus. If you want, you can take a few demo classes. There are special classes completely free of cost. So if you want to know what is the difference between YouTube and Unacademy Plus, then you can go and watch those special classes and you will understand the difference between the YouTube classes and the Unacademy Plus classes. Unacademy Plus provide a complete classroom experience, and apart from me there are many educators, top educators of India, who are on Unacademy Plus taking live classes, my friend. Okay, you can ask your doubts, you can post your doubts, you can take suggestions for your career, you can do anything on Unacademy Plus. It is a complete classroom experience, my friend. We have launched a few classes right now. We have launched a few classes, a new batch. So if you want to subscribe to Unacademy Plus, don't be late and go and subscribe to Unacademy Plus using my referral code. My referral code is given in the description of the video. It is Aprup10. So don't be late and go and subscribe to Unacademy Plus. If you want to know more, there are a few students who are still confused whether to take the subscription of Unacademy Plus or not. Solve this problem, and after that we will start with the new chapter, new topic, thin pressure vessel. My friend, we will talk about thin pressure vessel after the solution of this problem. This problem was the last problem. In the last lecture I gave you this problem and I asked you to solve this problem on your own. Okay, so what was the problem, my friend? It was a delta strain rosette. There were 3 strain gauges A, B, C. The strain readings of these gauges are given. Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio is given in the problem, and you need to calculate the principal stresses sigma 1 and sigma 2. Now what do you need to calculate first? You need to calculate epsilon x, epsilon y and gamma xy. What is the procedure, my friend? First you calculate epsilon x, epsilon y and gamma xy using these strain readings. Then you calculate epsilon 1 and epsilon 2 principal strain, and then using the Hooke's law, using these two values E and mu, you calculate sigma 1 and sigma 2. You can convert epsilon 1 and epsilon 2 into sigma 1 and sigma 2 using Hooke's law, my friend. Okay, so this is the entire procedure. First find out these 3, then epsilon 1 2, then sigma 1 2. So first we will calculate epsilon x, epsilon y and gamma xy, my friend. Okay, so we have 3 strain readings Okay, we have three strain readings at three different angles. What is theta A, my friend? What is theta A? I told you, whenever you want to find the direction, you need to find the angle. First of all, you measure angles from vertical plane. Okay. Now this strain gauge is at 90 degree with the vertical, but theta A will not be 90. Theta A is not 90 degree, my friend. What is theta A? Theta A is 0. Why, my friend? I told you in the last lecture, because you don't measure the angle of epsilon. You don't measure the angle of epsilon. You measure the angle of the plane at which epsilon is acting. So epsilon is perpendicular to vertical plane. So for this, theta A will be 0. This strain gauge is perpendicular to which plane? Vertical plane. And for vertical plane, theta will be 0 degree. So theta A equals to 0. So what you will get, my friend? Epsilon A will be equals to epsilon x. So it is 200 micron. Micron means 10 to the power minus 6. So this will directly give you epsilon x. This will directly give you epsilon x. What else do you need? You need epsilon y and gamma xy. Okay. So we need two equations. We need two equations. What will be those two equations, my friend? One unknown is already calculated. Other two unknown, epsilon y and gamma xy. So what will be the second equation, my friend? Second equation at theta b equals to 60 degrees. See, for this theta is 0. So for b, theta will be 60 degree and it will be positive because it is anti-clockwise. So theta b equals to 60 degree. What was the equation, my friend? What was the equation? It will be epsilon b equals to epsilon x plus epsilon y by 2 plus epsilon x minus epsilon y by 2 cos 2 theta. Cos 2 theta, so it will be cos 120 degree plus gamma xy by 2 sin 120 degree. Okay, so this will be the equation for theta equals to 60 degree. Now what will be theta c, my friend? See, theta c is in 60 degree, but it is clockwise 60. It is making clockwise 60. So this will be minus 60 degree. Okay, this will be minus 60 degree. So what you will get? Epsilon c equals to epsilon x plus epsilon y by 2 plus epsilon x minus epsilon y by 2 cos minus 120 degree plus gamma xy by 2 sin minus 120 degree. Okay, so these are the two equations, my friend. This is equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. This is equation number 1 and this is equation number 2, right? Now, my friend, in these equations we already know the value of epsilon x. What is epsilon x? 200. Okay, so put the value of epsilon x 200. Okay, and we know the value of epsilon b and epsilon c. What is epsilon b? 100. What is epsilon c? Minus 100. Okay. Now, how many unknowns do we have? Epsilon y and gamma xy. We have two equations and we have two unknowns. So you can solve these two equations. These are simultaneous equations. Okay, linear equations. So we can solve these two equations and we will get two unknowns. So what will be the values, my friend, if you solve these two equations? If you add these two, you will get one value. If you subtract these two, you will get other value. So what will be one value? Epsilon y will be minus 66.67 micron and gamma xy will be equal to, if you solve these two, epsilon y minus 66.67 and gamma xy is 230.94 micron. So these are the values of epsilon y and gamma xy. By solving these two, you can solve these two on your own. Okay, these are nothing but simultaneous equation. You can solve these two and you will get these answers. Okay, so now we have epsilon x, we have epsilon y and we have gamma xy. Okay, so what we will find? We will find the principal strains, epsilon 1 2. So what are the equations of principal strains? Epsilon 1 2, my friend, it is epsilon x plus epsilon y by 2 plus minus root over epsilon x minus epsilon y by 2 whole square plus gamma xy by 2 whole square. So this is the equation of principal strain, right? we have the value of epsilon x, epsilon y and gamma xy. So by putting the values in these equations and solving these equations, we will get epsilon 1 and epsilon 2. If you put plus sign, you will get epsilon 1. If you put minus sign, you will get epsilon 2. Okay. So if you have already solved this, tell me what is the answer, my friend? What is the answer? What is epsilon 1? If you solve this equation, what is epsilon 1, my friend? Epsilon 1, you will get this 243.05. Epsilon 1, 243.05 micron, and epsilon 2 is minus 109.72 micron. Okay, these are the values of epsilon 1 and epsilon 2. By solving this equation, this is the equation for principal strain. Okay, so by solving these two equations, we will get epsilon 1 and epsilon 2. Now what was the equation of sigma 1, my friend? What was the equation of sigma 1? It was this: sigma 1 equals to E into epsilon 1 plus mu epsilon 2 upon 1 minus mu square. I told you relation between principal stresses and principal strain. I told you. So from that equation we will get this, right? From that relation we will get this. Now put the values here. What is E? 200 gigapascal. Okay. What is epsilon 1? 243.05. What is epsilon 2? Minus 109.72. What is mu? 0.3. And epsilon is in micron, my friend. So it will be into 10 to the power minus 6. Okay, micron means 10 to the power minus 6. Okay, divided by 1 minus mu square. So mu will be 0.3. Okay, this mu and this mu is different. Okay, this mu and this mu is different. This is micron. Okay, this is micron, 10 to the power minus 6. And this is Poisson's ratio. So don't get confused between the two. Okay, now what will be sigma 1, my friend? Sigma 1 will be equal to 46.18 megapascal. Are you getting this answer? Are you getting this answer? If you are getting this answer, very good, my friend, excellent. Now sigma 2, my friend, what will be the equation of sigma 2? E into epsilon 2 plus mu into epsilon 1 upon 1 minus mu square. And if you put the value in this equation, what you will get, my friend? Sigma 2 equals to minus 8.09 megapascal. This is sigma 2. Are you getting this answer? Are you getting these answers? Sigma 1 46.18, sigma 2 8.09 megapascal. So this is how you can solve any problem of strain rosette, my friend. Do you understand? First you need to calculate epsilon x, epsilon y and gamma xy using these three values. Then you will put them in this equation and you will get epsilon 1 and epsilon 2, and you can use these relations to convert epsilon 1 and 2 into sigma 1 and 2. These relations are from Hooke's law. Okay, so this is the solution of the problem of strain rosette, my friend. If you like this, if you like this content, if you like this, please hit the like button right now. You have to hit the like button, my friend. You have to hit the like button. If you are attending this lecture, then it is like an attendance for you. Okay, so if you are present, just hit the like button. It is like raising your hand and giving your attendance, my friend. So please hit the like button, and after this lecture ends, don't forget to share this video with all your friends, my friend. I want everyone to know that there is a free of cost lecture of strength of material. Watching this video or not watching this video is their decision, but at least they should have an opportunity to watch the video. Okay, if you don't even know, if they don't even know about these videos, then how will they get the benefit of free of cost education? So everyone should get free of cost education. That's why we want you guys to post the link of this video on your Facebook, on your Instagram, on your Telegram, on your WhatsApp, everywhere. Send the lecture, send the link of this lecture. Okay, so don't forget to tell your friends about these videos. Okay, you have to support us in this noble cause, my friend. Okay, please support us in this noble cause. Please share the link of these videos with all your friends. Thank you very much if you have already done that. All right, so this was the last problem. In the last lecture I gave you this problem. This was the solution. Now let's move on to the next point, next topic, the new topic of today's lecture, and that is Thin pressure vessel. Thin pressure vessel. Thin pressure vessel. So first of all, we need to understand what is pressure vessel. What is pressure vessel, my friend? Let's understand the meaning of pressure vessel. So what is vessel, my friend? In general, vessel means any device, anything that is used to store something. Okay, for example, this is a box. Okay, it is a hollow box. You can open it. So this is a vessel. Now what is pressure vessel, my friend? Pressure vessel is a vessel which stores a fluid under high pressure. If there is fluid under high pressure, let's say this is a vessel, and inside this vessel there is a fluid under high pressure, above atmospheric pressure, then this vessel is called pressure vessel. For example, the LPG cylinder in your house, the LPG cylinder, the gas cylinder in your house which you use to cook food, that cylinder is an example of pressure vessel. Why? Because inside that LPG cylinder there is a gas above atmospheric pressure. So that vessel is storing a fluid under high pressure. So it is a pressure vessel. Boiler. In power plants there is steam boiler. Inside the steam boiler there is steam under high pressure. So boiler is also a pressure vessel. Pressure cooker. Pressure cooker is also a pressure vessel. Okay. So what is pressure vessel, my friend? Any vessel which stores high pressure fluid is called as pressure vessel. Okay. Now, when a storage tank or a vessel stores fluid under high pressure, what happens? For example, let's say we have a vessel. Okay. There is a fluid inside the vessel under high pressure. So what is this fluid doing, my friend? What is this fluid doing? This fluid is applying pressure on the walls of this vessel. Okay, this fluid wants to go outside, right? So it is applying pressure on this pressure vessel. So this pressure is kind of a load. Okay, this pressure is acting like a load, and under this load there will be stress and there will be deformation. So in this chapter we have to study how to calculate stresses and deformation in pressure vessels due to this pressure. Due to the pressure of the fluid, what will be the stress and what will be the deformation in pressure vessels. Okay, so that is our objective in this chapter, calculating stress and deformation in pressure vessels due to the internal pressure of the fluid. The fluid is above atmospheric pressure. Okay, so it is applying pressure on the walls of the container. Okay, this is the container. The fluid is applying pressure like this. So this pressure is nothing but a load, and due to this load there is stress and there is deformation. We have to calculate that stress and deformation. Okay, now my friend, pressure vessels can be divided into two categories. Pressure vessel can be divided into two categories: thin pressure vessel and thick pressure vessel. Okay, thin pressure vessel and thick pressure vessel. Now, what is the difference between thin pressure vessel and thick pressure vessel? Let's understand that. Okay, so let's say this is the cross section. Let's say this is the cross section. Okay, let's say we have a cylindrical pressure vessel. This will be the cross section. It will be hollow because it is storing fluid, so it must be hollow. Okay, so this is the hollow cross section. Okay, this is the hollow cross section. Okay, look at this, my friend. This is the cross section. Okay, now if the thickness of this cross section is very small compared to the diameter, then it is known as thin pressure vessel. If the thickness is very small compared to diameter, then it is known as thin pressure vessel. For example, my friend, let's say this is the diameter. Okay, let's say this is the diameter and this is the thickness. This is the thickness. Okay, here also this is the diameter and this is the thickness. Okay, this is the thickness. So if the thickness is very small, for example less than equal to 1 by 10 times of diameter, then it is a thin pressure vessel. And if the thickness is greater than 1/10 of diameter, then it is a thick pressure vessel. For example, let's say diameter is 100 mm. Let's say diameter is 100 mm. So if the thickness is 10 mm or less than 10 mm, then it is thin pressure vessel. But if the thickness is greater than 10 mm, let's say thickness is 15 mm, 20 mm, diameter 100, thickness 20. So it is not negligible. So it will be called a thick pressure vessel. Okay, so do you understand difference between thin and thick? Now my friend, the point is why we are dividing pressure vessel into thin and thick. Okay, diameter, thickness is very less in this case and thickness is greater in this case. But what is the actual difference? Why we are dividing them into different categories? Why we are putting them into different categories? That we have to understand. Okay, my friend, in case of thin pressure vessel, the thickness is very small. So at any point, at every point on this cross section, we assume that the stresses are same. The stresses are constant at this point and this point. This is on the outer surface and this is on the inner surface. We assume that the stress is same. If the stress is 100 megapascal at this point, then at this point, at the inner surface also, stress is 100 megapascal. In fact, at every point, stress is 100 megapascal. That is our assumption in thin pressure vessel. Because the thickness is very small, so we are assuming at every point on the cross section, stress is same. Okay, this is our assumption. At every point in the cross section of thin pressure vessel, stress is same. But in thick pressure vessel, stress at this point and stress at this point will be different. At one point, stress will be minimum. At one point, stress will be maximum. Okay. So in this case, at every point in the cross section, the stress will be different. Okay. At every point in the cross section, the stress will be different. So do you understand the difference between thin and thick? In case of thin pressure vessel, at every point, we assume that stresses are constant. In the cross section from inner surface to outer surface, at every point stress is constant. But here at different point, stress is different, my friend. And that's why the calculation of stress in this case and in this case is completely different. In this case, the formula that we derive is completely different. In this case, the formula of stress that we derive is completely different. Okay, so do you understand why we have divided them into different categories? Why there is a thin pressure vessel and there is a thick pressure vessel? What is the actual difference? We will not get into the detail of thick pressure vessel because this is not in our syllabus. In our syllabus, we only have to understand thin pressure vessel. So we will consider only thin pressure vessel, but I want you to understand the difference. Okay, I want you to understand the difference. Why we don't consider thick pressure vessel? What is the difference between thin and thick pressure vessel? So thin pressure vessel means at every point the stress will be almost same. This is our assumption. Actually the stresses are not same, but this is our assumption because the thickness is very less. But here the thickness is large. So we can't assume that stress at this point and stress at this point are constant, equal, because there will be a very large difference. At this point and this point, there will be a very large difference between stress. Here the difference will be very small. So we can assume that they are almost constant. So that's why the calculation of stress in thin pressure vessel and thick pressure vessel is completely different. But don't worry, this is not in our syllabus. This is not in our syllabus. So we will not talk about thick pressure vessel. We will only consider thin pressure vessel. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? Very good if you understand that. Now let's move on to thin pressure vessel. Okay. Now my friend, there are two types of thin pressure vessel that we need to consider. Okay. There are two types of thin pressure vessel that we need to consider: cylindrical and spherical. Okay. Cylindrical and spherical. Okay. So we have to see how to calculate stresses and deformation in cylinder and in sphere. Thin cylinder and thin sphere. Thick cylinder and thick sphere is not in our syllabus. We will only consider thin cylinder and thin sphere. Do you understand that? Very good, my friend. Very good. Hit the like button. If you are learning something new, if you are learning something new here, please hit the like button. Okay, please hit the like button and don't forget to share this video with all your friends, my friend. Okay, don't forget to share this video with all your friends. Okay, all right, my friend. So let's move on to the next topic, which is thin cylindrical pressure vessel. Okay, we will start with thin cylindrical pressure vessel and then we will see thin spherical pressure vessel. Okay, so this is thin cylindrical pressure vessel. Now my friend, I will tell you the entire concept of thin cylindrical pressure vessel. I will derive the equation, okay, and then we will solve some problems. Okay, the problems are very easy. On thin cylindrical pressure vessel, the problems are very easy. Okay, there is only formula. You have to only memorize the formula and you have to put the values in the formula. But if you derive the equation yourself, then you will understand what is happening behind the formula. Okay, what is the theory behind the formula. So that's why I will explain the derivation also. So let's see thin cylindrical pressure vessel. So first of all, let's understand what type of stresses are developed in thin cylindrical pressure vessel, and then we will calculate those stresses. Okay. So let's say this is the thin cylinder. Okay, let's say I have cut the thin cylinder like this. Let's say I have cut the thin cylinder like this. I try to draw a neat and clean diagram so that you will be able to understand everything. Okay, so that you will be able to understand everything very clearly. Okay, so it will take some time. Draw it yourself, my friend, so that you will be understand better. Okay, so that you will be understand better. So if you want, you can draw it with me. Okay, if you want, you can draw it with me. So this is a thin cylindrical pressure vessel. Okay, and I have cut this body. I have cut, let's say this is the cylinder. I have cut it to draw the stresses. Okay, I have cut this to draw the stresses. So I have cut this from this plane. Okay, this is the plane. Okay, this is the plane. This is one plane and this is another plane from which I have cut this. Okay, so I have cut it like this. I am cutting it like this and I am cutting it like this. Okay, so this is a piece of cylinder. Now my friend, where will you get the stresses? First of all, you will get the stresses on this plane. If you cut it from the vertical plane like this, in this plane, in this cross section, this is the cross section. So if you cut it like this on this plane, this is the cross section side view. Okay, if you cut it from here and if you look it from side, this is the plane. So on this plane, you will get this type of stress. What is this stress, my friend? This stress is in the direction of length. So this is known as longitudinal stress. Okay, sigma L. This is known as longitudinal stress. Okay. Now, my friend, on this surface, if you cut it from the horizontal plane, you will get stress on this plane also, like this. This stress is known as circumferential or hoop stress. Sigma C is what? Circumferential stress or hoop stress, my friend. Okay, I want you to understand what is circumferential or hoop stress. Okay, see, this length is increasing, right? So this stress due to the which is resisting the increase in length, this stress is the longitudinal stress. Okay, if there is internal pressure in the cylinder, then it will elongate the cylinder, the length of the cylinder will increase. To resist that deformation, you will get longitudinal stress. Okay, now my friend, look at the side view. Okay, this is the cross section and this is the pressure. So under this pressure, what will happen, my friend? The circumference will also increase. The circumference, this is the circumference. This will also increase. Length is also increasing. Circumference is also increasing, right? So circumferential stress is in order to resist increase in circumference. Okay, length is increasing, so there is longitudinal stress. Circumference is increasing, so there is circumferential stress. Both these stresses are positive because length is also increasing, circumference is also increasing. So both these stresses are positive, means both these stresses are tensile. Do you understand this? Now my friend, Look at this surface. Look at this surface. Look at this surface. Under this force, under this pressure, this is the pressure. Under this pressure, thickness will decrease, length will increase, circumference will increase. But the thickness, look at this thickness. This thickness will decrease, right? This pressure will decrease the thickness. So in order to resist decrease in thickness, there will be a radial stress. There will be a radial stress on this surface. On this surface, there is a curved surface. This is a curved surface. This is like a curved surface. On this surface, perpendicular to this surface, there will be radial stress, my friend, like this, like this, like this. Okay, normal to this surface, there will be radial stress. So there are three stresses, my friend. One is resisting increase in length. Okay, there is one stress resisting increase in length, which is longitudinal stress. One is resisting increase in circumference. This is the circumference, side view. So circumference is also increasing. So it is circumferential stress. Okay, and there is decrease in thickness. So in order to resist that, there is radial stress. This stress will be tensile. Longitudinal stress will be tensile. Circumferential stress will be tensile, because length is increasing, circumference is increasing. But radial stress is always compressive. Why? Because the thickness is decreasing. Look at this, thickness is decreasing. So radial stress is compressive. So do you understand these three stresses? Length, circumference, thickness. Increasing, increasing thickness, decreasing. Sigma L, sigma C, sigma R. Now my friend, this radial stress is equal to pressure. Radial stress is equal to pressure. Look at this. This is what? Pressure. This is the pressure, and this will also be radial stress. Normal to this surface. This is also radial stress. So pressure and radial stress both are same. Now if you consider any point on the outer surface, consider any point on the outer surface, what is the pressure on the outer surface? What is the pressure on outer surface? 0. On the outer surface, pressure will be equal to atmospheric pressure. And what is atmospheric pressure? 0. So sigma R will also be 0. So on the outer surface, there will be sigma L, there will be sigma C, but there will be no sigma R. On the outer surface, on this outer surface, sigma R is always equal to pressure. So on the outer surface, what is pressure? Equal to atmospheric pressure, 0. So sigma R will also be 0. But on the inner surface, take any point on the inner surface. On the inner surface, sigma R will be equal to the internal pressure, which is very less. In case of thin pressure vessel, pressure is very less. Compared to sigma L and sigma C, pressure is very less. Sigma R will be negligible. So on the inside point, sigma L, sigma C, sigma R, three stresses will be there. On the outer surface, only two stresses, sigma L and sigma C. Sigma R on the outer surface will be 0, always. But on the inner surface, there will be three stresses, sigma L, sigma C, sigma R. But sigma R will be negligible compared to these two. Sigma R on the inner surface will be negligible. So that's why, my friend, we never calculate sigma R in case of thin pressure vessels. In case of thin pressure vessel, we consider that sigma R is negligible because its value is equal to pressure, which is negligible compared to sigma L and sigma C. I will explain why sigma R is negligible. Okay, when we will derive sigma L and sigma C, I will explain why sigma R is negligible. So do you understand this? On the outer surface, sigma R is 0 because pressure is 0. But on the inner surface, there will be sigma R, but it will be very less. That's why we will neglect it. So we will never calculate sigma R, my friend. Do you understand this? Even if you consider a point on outer surface or a point on inner surface, we assume that sigma R is negligible. On outer surface, sigma R is already 0, but on inner surface, there is some value of sigma R, but it is very negligible because it is equal to pressure, which is very less. So that's why we never calculate. In case of thin pressure vessel, in case of thick pressure vessel, sigma R pressure is huge. In case of thick pressure vessel, pressure is huge. So that's why we don't neglect sigma R, we calculate sigma R in case of thick pressure vessel. But we don't consider thick, we are considering thin pressure vessel. Okay, so we will only calculate sigma L and sigma c. We will neglect sigma r. We will neglect sigma r. Do you understand this? Okay, my friend. So one by one, we will calculate the longitudinal stress and the circumferential stress. Okay. All right. So let's move on to calculation of longitudinal and circumferential stress. We will calculate the longitudinal stress and circumferential stress. So first of all, let's calculate the longitudinal stress. Okay, let's calculate the longitudinal stress. So let's consider a cylinder. Okay, let's consider a cylinder. Let's say this is the cylinder. Okay, let's say this is the cylinder. Let's say that the diameter of the cylinder is d. Okay, let's say diameter of the cylinder is d. Although it should be mean diameter, but thickness is very less. So internal diameter and mean diameter almost same. Okay, this will be the thickness. Okay, so internal diameter, thickness, and this is the length of the cylinder. Okay, this is the length of the cylinder, and it is subjected to internal pressure P. Let's say the internal pressure is equal to P. There is fluid inside this cylinder. There is fluid inside this cylinder, and the pressure of the fluid is P above atmospheric pressure. What is atmospheric pressure? 0, and above atmospheric pressure, this is the pressure P. Okay. Now, my friend, if you cut this cylinder using a vertical plane, what you will get? Let's cut this cylinder from this plane and let's draw the diagram. Okay, let's cut this cylinder from the vertical plane and let's draw the diagram. So you'll get this diagram. You will get this diagram. This is the plane from which you have cut this cylinder. Okay, I have cut the cylinder from vertical plane. Okay. Now, my friend, consider the forces in x direction. Consider the forces in x direction. Forget about other direction. Consider the forces in x direction. Okay. So on this surface, this is a closed surface. Okay, this end is closed. So in x direction, pressure is applying force on this closed lid. On this closed surface, pressure is applying some force like this. Okay, on the left side. Now, in order to resist this, there is internal resistance. There is internal resistance. Okay. Now, my friend, what is our assumption in case of thin pressure vessel? That at every point stress will be same. So let's say this stress is sigma L, and at every point it is equal. Do you understand this? At every point stress is equal. So this is the force diagram in x direction. I am not considering any other direction. Right now only in x direction. So there is a force due to pressure on the left side. On this left surface there is force due to pressure, and from this, on this plane which I have cut, there will be stress. Okay, so stress will apply force in the right direction. Now, my friend, summation of Fx should be 0. Right, it should be in equilibrium. What will be the force in the right direction, my friend? The stress at every point is equal. The stress at every point is equal. So I can write force equal to stress into area. I can write force equal to stress into area. Sigma L into area. What will be this area, my friend? What is the area of a very hollow thin circle? Very thin hollow circle. What is the area of thin hollow circle? It is pi dt. Okay, pi dt. Pi d is the circumference and t is the thickness. So that this is the area of a very thin hollow circle. Okay, so this is the force in the right direction. Okay, in the right direction, sigma L into this area. Now this will be equal to the force in the left direction, pressure into area. So pressure is P into what will be the area of this surface? Pi by 4 d square, right? So it will be into pi by 4 d square. What will be this area? This is a closed end. This is the closed end. Okay, this end will be the closed end. Okay, this is the plane because we have cut the plane, and this is the closed end. So area will be pi by 4 d square. Now my friend, d will be cancelled, pi will be cancelled. What will you get? Sigma L equals to PD by 40. Will you get this? Will you get this? Right. So do you understand? Do you understand how I have calculated the longitudinal stress? PD by 40. This is the longitudinal stress where P is the internal pressure, D is the diameter, T is the thickness. Okay. So this is the force in the right direction, sigma L into this area, and this is the force in the left direction, pressure into this area. Okay. This is the closed surface. Okay. It will look like this, closed surface. So pressure into this area which is pi by 4 d square. Okay, so from there you will get sigma L equals to PD by 40. If you understand this very clearly, please hit the like button right now. Please hit the like button right now. If you have understood it, hit the like button and note this derivation down. Hit the like button right now and note this derivation down. Note this formula, PD by 40, very important. You have to memorize this formula. You have to memorize this formula. Okay. Now my friend, this was the first stress, longitudinal stress. We will calculate the second stress, which is known as circumferential stress. We will calculate the second stress, which is known as circumferential stress, or it is also known as hoop stress. It is also known as circumferential stress, is also known as hoop stress, HOOP, hoop stress. Okay. So in this case, we will consider horizontal plane. Okay. This stress will be developed in horizontal plane. So we will cut the cylinder using a horizontal plane like this. Okay. I will cut the cylinder using horizontal plane like this, and then I will draw the diagram. Okay. So let's draw the diagram of the bottom half. Okay. This cylinder is cut into two halves, top half and bottom half. I will draw the diagram of the bottom half. Okay. So this will be the diagram. Understand it carefully. Understand it carefully. If you want, you can also draw the diagram to understand it clearly. Last time we cut the cylinder from vertical plane. This time we are cutting it from horizontal plane. Okay. So this will be the diagram of the bottom half. Okay. This will be the diagram of the bottom half. This is the plane. This is one plane, second plane, horizontal plane. Okay. It is the horizontal plane. Okay. If you cut it, this will be the horizontal planes. Okay. Now my friend, there is a pressure acting on this surface. Okay, if you have cut this cylinder, look at this. Look at this view. You will understand it better in this view. Okay, side view. Look at the side view. From side view, it will look like this. From side view, it will look like this. If you look at this side view, so pressure is acting downward like this. Okay, this is the pressure. And in order to resist this pressure, this is the pressure acting like this. And in order to resist this pressure, there is circumferential stress upward like this on this plane and on this plane like this. Do you understand this diagram? Understand this diagram, my friend. Understand this diagram. You have cut the cylinder from horizontal surface, right? Now there is pressure acting normal to this curved surface. On this curved surface, pressure is acting normal downward direction, and in order to resist this force, there is upward force due to sigma c. Okay, on this plane, this plane, this plane. Okay, on these two plane, there is sigma c acting upward. Okay, now my friend, we will apply again equilibrium equation, summation of Fy equals to 0. What will be the total force in upward direction? Sigma c into this area plus this area, sigma c into area. So what will be this one area? Length into thickness, right? This one area will be length into thickness, but there are two areas like this. This is LT, this is LT. So what will be total area? 2LT, right? Sigma C multiplied by this area plus this area, 2LT, equal to what will be the downward force? This is upward force. Due to sigma C there is upward force. What will be downward force due to pressure? Pressure into area. But which area? Which area? You will not calculate the total area. You will not calculate the total area. Now my friend, understand, this is a very important concept. This is a curved surface. This is a curved surface. Okay. And on curved surface, pressure is acting normal like this. So at every point, the direction of force is different. Here the direction of force is this. Here the direction of force is this. Here the direction of force is this. At every point, the direction of force is different. What do we want? We want force in y direction. We want force in y direction, right? So what we will do? What we will do? We will use the projected area. We will not consider the entire area. Okay, this is the total area. We will not consider total area. We will use the projected area. Why? Because at every point force is in different direction and we want the y direction force. Okay, we want the y component of all these forces. If there is a flat surface, this is a curved surface, right? If there is a flat surface, then the pressure will be acting in the same direction. At every point pressure will be in the same direction. So in that case we will use total area. But this is a curved surface, and in case of curved surface, if the pressure is acting normal, then in order to calculate total force in any one direction, what do you use? Projected area. So this is the cylinder. If you project this cylinder on this surface, what you will get? You will get a rectangle. What will be the area, my friend? What will be the projected area? If you project this cylinder, you will get a rectangle. What will be the area? L into D. This is what? Projected area. This is a projected area. Do you understand why I am using projected area? Why I am not using total area? Because at every point pressure is in different direction, not in y direction. Look at this force. Is it in y direction? No. Look at this force. Is it in y direction? No. Only this force at one point is in y direction. All the other forces are in different direction. So in this case, we will not use total area. We will use projected area. Okay. All right. So now my friend, this L and L will be cancelled. What you will get? Sigma C will be PD by 2T. So do you understand? Do you understand the calculation of stress? We have just applied equilibrium equation. Summation of Fy equals to 0. Upward force equal to downward force. Okay. So we got sigma C equals to PD by 2T. So note this down, my friend. Note this down. Hit the like button if you have understood a new concept here, and note this down. Note this formula. You have to remember the formula of sigma L and sigma C. What is sigma L? PD by 4T. What is sigma C? PD by 2T. Alright guys. Now my friend, I told you that I will explain why we neglect sigma R. Okay. I told you I will explain why we neglect sigma R. So now is the time that you understand why we neglect sigma R. I told you that on the outer surface sigma R will always be 0, because on outer surface pressure is 0. Pressure is equal to atmospheric pressure. And what is atmospheric pressure? What is absolute? We are not calculating absolute pressure. We are calculating gauge pressure. Gauge pressure means above atmosphere. So what is gauge pressure on the outer surface? 0. And what is gauge pressure on the inner surface? P. Okay. So on outer surface sigma R is already 0, but on inner surface there is sigma R, but we are neglecting it. Why, my friend? Let's understand that. What is sigma L? PD by 4T. What is sigma C? PD by 2T. If you consider sigma R on the inner surface, what will be the value? P. Okay, if you consider sigma R, its value will be P. Now my friend, I told you in case of thin pressure vessel, D by T ratio is at least 10, at least 10. Let's consider D by T equals to 20. For example, let's say D by T is 20. Okay, let's say diameter to thickness ratio is 20. It should be at least 10. That is the least value for thin vessel. But let's say it is 20. So what will be sigma L, my friend? What will be sigma L? What will be sigma L? If you put d by t 20, sigma L will be 5p. What will be sigma C? Sigma C will be 10p. And what is sigma R? Sigma R is p. So look at these values, my friend. Sigma L is 5 times of this value. Sigma C is 10 times of this value. So this value, sigma R, is negligible compared to sigma L and sigma C. Do you understand this concept? And I am only considering very small value of d by t. 20 is very small. It should be 50 or 100. Let's make it 100. Now let's see what will happen. If d by t is 100, then this will be 25p and this will be 50 times of p. So sigma L is 25 times of this value and sigma C is 50 times of this value. Do you understand the difference, sigma L, sigma C and sigma R? So that's why this value is not considered. It is negligible. It is negligible compared to sigma L and sigma C. So that's why we never consider this sigma R, okay, in thin pressure vessel. But in thick pressure vessel, its value is not very negligible. Sigma R is not negligible, okay. So do you understand why we don't consider sigma R? Okay, my friend. Now, my friend, consider an element on the surface, okay. Consider an element on the surface, okay. So there are two stresses on this element. There is one stress in x direction, sigma L, which is tensile. One stress in y direction, sigma C. Sigma R is 0. There is a z force, there is a stress in z direction also, sigma R, but it is 0. So this is a biaxial state of stress. This is a biaxial state of stress, okay. This is a biaxial state of stress. This is biaxial state of stress, sigma L and sigma C. Now, what will be the principal stress, my friend? What will be the principal stress in this case? I told you what is a principal plane. Principal plane is a plane where tau is 0. Is there a tau here? Is there a tau on this plane? No. Is there a tau on this plane? No. So this plane is what? This plane is a principal plane because there is no tau here. Is there any tau here? No. So this plane is a principal plane. This horizontal plane is also a principal plane. So if there is no tau, then this sigma and this sigma, these two will be the principal stress. What is the definition of principal stress? Principal plane. Sorry, what is the definition of principal plane? Principal plane is the plane where tau is 0. So there is no tau on this plane. There is no tau on this plane. So this stress and this stress are principal stress. So what are the principal stresses, my friend? What are the principal stresses here? Principal stresses number 1 is sigma C. Principal stress number 2 is sigma L. You can consider sigma L to be sigma 1, sigma C to be sigma 2, doesn't matter, okay. So and third stress is 0. Third stress is 0 because there is no stress in z direction. We are considering sigma R is 0. Otherwise sigma 3 will be sigma R. But sigma R we are considering 0. So these are the principal stresses. Now my friend, what will be sigma max? What will be sigma max? What is sigma max, my friend? Maximum of sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3, right? Sigma maximum is maximum of sigma 1, 2 and 3. So which one is sigma maximum, my friend? 1, 2 and 3. Which one is sigma maximum? This one will be sigma maximum. Sigma C means PD by 2T. Sigma maximum will be PD by 2T. So this is the maximum sigma. Do you understand this? Do you understand this? Very good, my friend. Now, my friend, we also need to calculate tau maximum. So what will be tau maximum, my friend? See, I told you there are two tau maximum. In plane tau maximum and absolute tau maximum. So what will be in plane tau maximum? In plane tau maximum means in this plane. In this plane, in the plane of element. In the plane of element, what is tau maximum? So it will be sigma 1 minus sigma 2. Sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by 2. Sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by 2. Put the values. What you will get? What is sigma 1? What is sigma 1, my friend? What is sigma 1? PD by 2T. What is sigma 2? PD by 4T. So what is tau maximum in the plane? Tau maximum in plane. In plane means in the plane of element, in the plane of this element. So it will be PD by 80. But this is in plane tau maximum. What will be the absolute tau maximum? What will be the absolute tau maximum? Let's calculate absolute tau maximum. Okay. Let's calculate absolute tau maximum. So what will be absolute tau maximum? I told you. It will be maximum of sigma 1 minus 2 by 2, 2 minus 3 by 2. But 3 is 0. So it will become 2 by 2, 3 minus 1 by 2. 3 is 0. So it will become 1 by 2. So which one will be maximum, my friend? Which one will be maximum? 1 minus 2, 2 by 2 or 1 by 2? Which one will be maximum? This one will be maximum. Sigma 1 by 2 will be maximum. Put the values. This one will be maximum. Sigma 1 by 2. So what you will get? What is sigma 1? PD by 2t divided by 2. So tau maximum will be PD by 4t. Do you understand this? Tau maximum in plane and tau maximum absolute. Okay. If nothing is mentioned, if I ask you to calculate tau maximum of thin cylindrical pressure vessel, then you have to calculate this one. If nothing is mentioned. But if specifically they mention that calculate tau maximum in plane, tau maximum in plane, then it will be PD by 80. Do you understand this point? In plane shear stress and absolute shear stress. I have explained this in principal stresses. In the lecture of principal stresses, I have explained what is the difference between the two. Okay. So tau maximum in plane, in the plane of this surface, in this plane, tau maximum is this much, PD by 80, and absolute tau maximum in all the planes. What is tau maximum? PD by 40. Okay. So do you understand this? This is the calculation of stress, my friend. This is the calculation of stress. Now, we also need to calculate the deformation. We also need to calculate deformation, my friend. Okay. So we need to calculate change in length. We need to calculate change in diameter and change in volume. Change in length, change in diameter and change in volume. Okay. So let's first calculate change in length. Let's first calculate change in length. So in order to calculate change in length, we will calculate the longitudinal strain. Okay, in order to calculate change in length, we will calculate longitudinal strain, means strain in length direction, x direction. So epsilon L by Hooke's law, there are two stresses, sigma L and sigma C. So what will be epsilon L? Sigma L by E minus mu sigma C by E. Hooke's law, this is the Hooke's law, sigma L by E minus mu sigma C by E. This will be epsilon L. So what will be epsilon L, my friend? What will be sigma L? PD by 4t. What will be sigma C? PD by 2t. So what will be epsilon L, my friend? If you take PD by 4te common, what you will get? 1 minus 2 mu. You will get 1 minus 2 mu, and this will be equal to delta L by L. This will be equal to delta L by L. This is the longitudinal strain. This is the longitudinal strain. Do you understand this? Do you understand this? Longitudinal strain means strain in x direction. So from this equation, what you can calculate? Delta L. You can calculate the change in length. PD by 40 upon 1 minus 2 mu. This will be equal to delta L by L. So from this equation, you can calculate delta L, change in length. Do you understand this? Hit the like button if you still not like this video. Please hit the like button right now, and don't forget to share this video, my friend. Don't forget to share this video. Okay. After this lecture ends, I need your support, my friend. I need maximum support from you. So please share this video to all your groups. Okay. All right. So this is epsilon L. All right. Now, my friend, we have calculated change in length. What else we need? We need change in diameter. So this time we will calculate circumferential strain. This time we will calculate circumferential or hoop strain. Epsilon C means strain in y direction. Okay. So what will be the equation this time? Sigma C by E minus mu sigma L by E. Okay. This time consider strain in y direction. So it will be sigma C by E minus mu sigma L by E. Put the values. Put the values. What is sigma C? PD by 2T. What is sigma L? PD by 4T. Okay. Now again take PD by 4TE common. Take PD by 4TE common. What you will get? 2 minus mu. Okay. You will get 2 minus mu, and this will be equal to what? Delta D by D. This will be equal to delta D by D. Do you understand this? This is what? Circumferential strain. So we have calculated change in length and we have calculated change in diameter. Okay. So these are the two strains. Now my friend, what we need to calculate? Now my friend, what we need to calculate? We have calculated change in length and change in diameter. Let's calculate change in volume. Let's calculate change in volume. So what you will calculate, my friend? In order to calculate change in volume, you will calculate volumetric strain. You will calculate volumetric strain epsilon V. And what is epsilon V, my friend? What is epsilon V? It is equal to epsilon X plus epsilon Y plus epsilon Z, right? I have told this in the initial lectures. We have already discussed all this. Okay. So epsilon X will be what? Epsilon L. Epsilon Y will be what? Epsilon C. And epsilon Z will be what? My friend, this is a cylinder. So X direction dimension is length. In Y direction dimension is D, diameter. And in Z direction the dimension is also diameter. So in Y and Z, both direction the dimension is same, diameter. In Y direction and Z direction the dimension is diameter. So this will also be epsilon C. So I can write it like this, epsilon L plus 2 into epsilon C. Put the values. What you will get? Epsilon L is PD by 4TE 1 minus 2 mu, and epsilon C is PD by 40E 2 minus mu. Add these two, what you will get? Add these two, what you will get? PD by 40E, you will get 5 minus 4 mu. PD by 40E 5 minus 4 mu, and this will be equal to delta V divided by V. Epsilon V, volumetric strain, will be change in volume divided by volume. So you can use this equation to calculate change in volume. So we have derived the equation of change in length, change in diameter, and also change in volume, my friend. Hit the like button right now. Hit the like button and note these formula. You have to remember all these equation of sigma L, equation of sigma C, equation of tau maximum, equation of delta L, delta D, and delta V. You have to remember all these formula. Okay, there will be formula based question in thin pressure vessel, formula based question. Okay, so do you understand the derivation of thin cylindrical pressure vessel? Do you understand this derivation? Very good, my friend. Do you understand this derivation? Very good. Now my friend, let's have a look at thin spherical pressure vessel. We have seen thin cylindrical pressure vessel. Now we will see spherical pressure vessel. Okay, thin spherical pressure vessel. Almost similar derivation. There will be almost similar derivation. So don't worry about the derivation. In this case, it will be very similar to cylindrical pressure vessel. Now you know how to derive the equation. Okay, so you can try this yourself. So this is a spherical pressure vessel. It will be like this. Okay, it is a sphere. Okay, now my friend, in case of sphere, there is no length. So there will be no longitudinal stress. In this case, in X direction and Y direction, the stress will be same. If you cut this sphere, from this plane or from this plane, diagram will be same. Will be same. So in both direction, in this direction and in this direction, stress will be same. It will be known as circumferential stress. Do you understand this? In this case, there will be no longitudinal stress. there will be circumferential stress in X, there will be circumferential stress in Y. Okay, so what will be this stress? Let's cut it from vertical plane. Let's cut it from vertical plane and let's draw the diagram. Let's cut it from vertical plane. You can also cut it from horizontal plane. You will get the similar diagram. So this will be the diagram. Okay, this will be the diagram. This will be the diagram. This will be the diagram. This is the diagram. Okay. Now my friend, what will be the forces in Y direction? Sorry, X direction. There will be force due to pressure like this. This will be force due to pressure, and to resist this, there will be force due to stress. Sigma C. Now apply summation of Fx equals to 0. Understand this diagram. We have cut the sphere from the vertical plane. We have cut the sphere from vertical plane and we have drawn the left half of the sphere. So on this plane, on the curved plane, pressure is acting, and on this plane which I have cut, stress is acting. And we will apply equilibrium equation, summation of Fx equals to 0. What will be the force in the right direction? See here, what is our assumption? At every point stress is equal. So I can write force equal to stress into area. Sigma C into this area, pi dt. This will be equal to pressure into area. Now understand this, my friend. Again we have a curved surface and the pressure is acting normal to this surface. So again my friend, at every point the pressure is in different direction. We need force in X direction. And here there are different direction of forces. So what we will do? Again we will use projected area. Do you understand the concept? If there is pressure on curved surface and you need force in X direction or Y direction, what do? You use projected area. So what will be the projected area, my friend? If you project this is a sphere. If you project sphere, what you will get? Circle. And what will be the projected area? What will be the projected area? Pi by 4 d square. This is what? Projected area. Why we are using projected area? Because it is a curved surface. This is a curved surface. Pressure is acting normal to curved surface. Okay. So pressure into projected area. Now my friend, pi cancel. Sigma C will be PD by 4T. Do you understand this? Very good. Do you understand this concept of projected area? Very good. If you are learning something new, if you have learned a new concept, please hit the like button, my friend. Hit the like button. Acknowledge this and hit the like button and share this video with all your friends, my friend. Thank you very much if you have already done this. Hit the like button, my friend. Thank you very much for supporting me. Hit the like button. Now my friend, we have calculated stress in X as well as Y direction. If you cut the sphere from horizontal plane, you will get the similar diagram. So in this case, stress in X and Y direction will be same. If you consider an element like this, then stress in X direction will be sigma C and stress in Y direction will also be sigma C. What is this case, my friend? When both the normal stresses are same. What is this case? This is a hydrostatic stress. This is a hydrostatic stress. This case is a hydrostatic stress, my friend. Okay. In X direction and Y direction, stresses are same. Normal stresses are same. So sigma 1 and sigma 2, both the principal stresses will be equal to sigma C. So what will be sigma maximum, my friend? Sigma 1, sigma C means PD by 4T. Now my friend, what will be tau maximum in plane? Tau maximum in plane. In this plane, what will be tau maximum? In this plane, tau maximum will be 0. Sigma 1 minus sigma 2, it will be 0. So in plane shear stress is 0, but it doesn't mean that there will be no shear stress. In plane, in this plane, there will be no tau, but in other planes there will be tau. Absolute tau maximum Absolute tau maximum, what will it be? Absolute tau maximum means maximum of 1 minus 2 by 2, 1 by 2 and 2 by 2. 3 is 0, sigma 3 is 0, so 1 by 2 and 2 by 2. So sigma 1 minus 2 by 2 is 0 and these two are equal. So what will be tau maximum? Sigma 1 by 2, sigma 1 is PD by 40. So this will be PD by 80. So in plane shear stress is 0, but absolute shear stress is PD by 80. So this is sigma maximum and this is tau maximum. Do you understand this? Do you understand this? Very good, my friend. And note this down. If they are only saying calculate tau max, you will calculate this tau max. If they are saying calculate tau max in plane, then you will say 0. So do you understand this? Okay, my friends. So we have done the calculation of stresses. We have done the calculation of stresses. Now let's see the calculation of deformation. So in this case, we will calculate two deformation. We will calculate change in diameter and change in volume. So let's calculate change in diameter from circumferential strain. Let's calculate circumferential strain, epsilon C. Epsilon C. So what will be epsilon C, my friend? Sigma x by E. There are two stresses, sigma x, sigma y. So sigma x by E minus mu sigma y by E. Both are equal. Both are equal. So I can write it like this. Sigma C by E 1 minus mu. Both are equal. Sigma x, sigma y. Both are equal. Okay. Now put the value. What you will get? What you will get? Sigma C is PD by 40. So this will be epsilon C and it will be equal to what? Delta D divided by D. Change in diameter divided by original diameter. Do you understand this? This is the derivation of change in diameter. Okay. Now we also need change in volume. We also need change in volume. So now what we will calculate? We will calculate volumetric strain. We will calculate volumetric strain. Volumetric strain means epsilon V. We will calculate epsilon V. Now my friend, I told you epsilon V is epsilon x plus epsilon y plus epsilon z. And in case of sphere, in x direction, y direction, z direction, in all three direction, dimension is same, diameter. So x, y, z, all are epsilon c. So I can write it like this, 3 into epsilon c. Okay, all three will be circumferential strain. So I can write it 3 into epsilon c. Okay, do you understand this? Very good, my friend. Now my friend, put the value. What you will get? 3 PD by 40E, 3 PD by 40E, 1 minus mu, and this will be equal to what? Change in volume divided by original volume. This is what? This is the volumetric strain or delta V. You can use this to calculate delta V, my friend. Do you understand this? Do you understand this? Very good, my friend. So we have calculated stresses and deformation in spherical pressure vessel also. In cylinder and sphere, we have calculated, we have derived equation of stresses and equations of deformation. You have to memorize all these values. We have to memorize all these equations. Okay, stresses, deformations, all these values. Okay, all right, my friend. Now let's see numericals. Let's see numericals. Okay, so there will be very formula based numericals. So let's see some few examples. Okay, don't worry about the number of numericals, my friend. If you feel that we are doing less numericals, don't worry. Right now I am just explaining the concepts. Right now I am explaining the concepts and I am only taking examples related to the concepts. After I complete the concept, I will also start numerical series. Okay, I will also start lecture series for numericals. So in that series of lectures, we will only study numericals. We will only solve numericals. Lots and lots of numerical. All numericals from GATE, all numericals from engineering services. We will solve every numerical, okay, every different type of numerical. So don't worry about that. There will be a lecture series for numerical, okay. So don't worry about the numericals, okay. If you think that I am solving very less numericals, I am trying to solve as many numericals as I can, but right now we have less time. Right now we can only see concepts, okay. So that's why right now I am not considering all numericals. After the concepts are completed, then I will start numerical series, okay. After strength of material we will start machine design, and after machine design we will start like numerical series. Let's say for SOM, for engineering mechanics, for machine design, for different subjects we will start numerical series also, okay. All right my friend, but it will take time. It will take time. That's why I say on YouTube I don't get a lot of time. So if you want to study everything and if you want to spend more time with me, come to Unacademy Plus, my friend, okay. I can't do anything about it because I also have to earn. We all know that, okay. So come to Unacademy Plus. Here on YouTube, what you are missing, you will get on Unacademy Plus, okay. On Unacademy Plus, you will get everything. On Unacademy Plus, you will get all the theory, you will get all the numericals one by one in a very sequential manner, okay. Here we are not getting enough time, so that's why we are learning slowly, okay. We are completing everything, but slowly, okay, at a slow pace, okay. If you want to learn more, then come to Unacademy Plus. You will feel like you are sitting in a classroom, okay. And I told you, if you have any doubt, you can email me. This is my email ID, okay. I have given it in the start of the lecture also. Again I am telling you, this is my email ID. A lot of students have already joined. So if you have any query about joining Unacademy Plus, if you have any query regarding the payment, see, right now we have EMI option also, okay. You can pay the subscription fee in EMI, credit card, debit card. We have both types of EMI, credit card EMI, debit card. From ATM card also you can pay in EMI. So if you have any doubt regarding the subscription of Unacademy Plus, please email me and I will help you in any manner and I can, okay. I will help you regarding anything I can. Just email me your doubts, whatever doubts you have, okay, regarding the classes, regarding the difference between YouTube and Unacademy Plus, regarding the payment. If you have any doubt, just email me and I will explain everything, my friend, okay. All right my friend, all right. So let's move on to some numericals, okay. Let's solve some numericals. So what are the numericals that we have to solve? Okay, so the first numerical is very easy numerical. Gas is stored in a cylindrical tank. This is from GATE 2015. This is from GATE 2015, okay. Gas is stored in a cylindrical tank of radius 7 meter. Radius is given 7 meter. Gas is stored in a cylindrical tank of radius 7 meter and thickness 50 mm. Thickness 50 mm. Pressure, gauge pressure of gas is 2 megapascal, okay. We need gauge pressure, means above atmosphere, okay. Above atmosphere, what is pressure? 2 megapascal. What is maximum shear stress? And they are not specifying in plane. So which shear stress? Absolute, okay. If they are not saying anything, if they are only saying maximum shear stress, means you have to calculate absolute maximum, okay. This should be absolute maximum. So R, T and P is given and you need to calculate absolute maximum. So what is absolute maximum in case of cylinder? This is a cylinder, okay. So what is absolute maximum? PD by 4T, okay, in case of cylinder. In case of sphere, PD by 8T. In case of cylinder, PD by 4T. So what is P? 2 megapascal. What will be diameter? 14 meter. Means 14 into 10 to the power 3 divided by 4 into what is thickness? 50 mm. So what will be tau maximum, my friend? Calculate it. Calculate it. What will be tau maximum? Tau maximum will be equal to 140 megapascal. Okay. Tau maximum will be 140 megapascal. Which tau maximum? Absolute tau maximum. Okay. Not in plane. If they have not mentioned in plane, means you have to calculate absolute tau maximum. Okay. So very easy problem, my friend. It was a 2-mark problem. It was a 1-mark problem. It was a 1-mark problem. Very easy problem. Okay. Let's solve another problem. Let's solve another problem. This time a 2-mark problem. This time we will solve a 2-mark problem. So what is the question? This is from GATE 2016. Okay, so you can see that you got a question in 2015, in 2016, then in 2018, in 2019, there was a question from GATE 2020 also. In every year there is a question from pressure vessel. You can see every year there is a question from pressure vessel. So it is a very important topic for mechanical engineers. Pressure vessel is a very important topic of SOM. Okay, but it is very easy. Okay. So GATE 2016, what is the question? A thin cylindrical pressure vessel of internal diameter 2 meter is designed to withstand internal pressure of 500 kilopascal. Okay, pressure is in kilopascal. Okay, if the allowable normal stress is 100 megapascal, allowable sigma is 100 megapascal, find the minimum thickness. So you have diameter, you have pressure, you have sigma allowable, and you need to calculate thickness. Do you understand this? Do you understand this? Okay, my friend. Now, my friend, what you have to do? You have to use the equation of sigma maximum, which is what? For cylinder, it is PD by 2T. Okay, it is a cylinder, so PD by 2T. Now, my friend, what is sigma allowable? 100 megapascal. What is sigma maximum? You can apply maximum 100 megapascal. You cannot go above 100. You can apply maximum 100. What is pressure? 500 kilopascal. You have to convert kilopascal into megapascal. So it will be 10 to the power minus 3. Kilo into mega. So 10 to the power minus 3. What is the diameter? 2 meter. So 2 into 10 to the power 3 mm. And what will be the thickness, my friend? You have to find the thickness. Okay, so from here, if you calculate the thickness, what you will get, my friend? If you calculate the thickness from here, this 0 cancel, 10 to the power minus 3, 10 to the power 3, 2, 2. So what will be the thickness? 5 mm. This will be the required thickness of the cylinder. Okay, so this much should be minimum thickness. If the thickness is less than this, then sigma maximum will be greater than this and the cylinder will fail, because maximum you can allow 100 megapascal. You cannot allow more than 100. So this should be the minimum thickness. Okay. Now, my friend, next question. And this question is from GATE 2018. So there was a question in 15, then in 16, and then in 18 also, then in 19 and in 20 also. So you can see every year there is a question from from thin pressure vessel. Every year there is a question from thin pressure vessel. Okay, so it is a very important topic for mechanical engineers. Okay, very important topic for mechanical engineers. Note that down. Okay, you can expect one question from thin pressure vessel. Okay, now, my friend, let me read the question. It is a very important question. A thin cylindrical pressure vessel has mean radius 100 mm. Mean radius, internal radius, same thing, because this thin vessel, so it will not be different. So wall thickness is 5 mm. Okay, it is pressurized and an additional stress of 50 megapascal is imposed. So this is the cylinder, my friend. Okay, they are saying that it is subjected to internal pressure and there is an additional stress in this direction. There is an additional stress of 50 megapascal. Okay, this is additional. This is additional. There is stress due to pressure and this is additional pressure. This is additional stress. Okay, so there is additional stress of 50 megapascal. Assume that if sigma axial and circumferential are equal, sigma axial and sigma circumferential are equal, find the pressure. Do you understand the problem? Understand the problem, my friend. Understand the problem first. Understand the problem first. See, this body is subjected to two types of loads. There is pressure and there is an additional force. Okay, so there is stress due to pressure and there is an additional stress of 50 megapascal. They are saying that axial stress is equal to circumferential stress. Let's consider this element. Then this will be the axial stress. Okay, This will be the axial stress, axial direction, and this will be the circumferential stress. And what they are saying, axial stress is equal to circumferential stress. Find the pressure. Now my friend, in axial direction, there will be two stresses. There will be sigma L in this direction, in x direction, axial direction, there will be sigma L due to pressure, and this is an additional stress. So plus 50, both will be tensile. So this is total axial stress. Total stress in x direction. Total stress in x direction will be axial stress due to pressure. Okay, longitudinal stress due to pressure plus this 50 megapascal. So this is total axial stress. This should be equal to circumferential stress. Okay, circumferential stress will only be due to pressure. There is no additional stress in y. Okay, put the value. This will become PD by 40 plus 50 equals to PD by 2T. Okay, PD by 40 will go here. So what you will get? PD by 40 will go here. So you will get minus PD by 40. So this will become 50 equals to PD by 40. PD by 2T minus PD by 40. What you will get? PD by 40. Put the values. What is the diameter? 200. Radius is 100. So diameter will be 200. What is the thickness? 5 mm. So what will be the pressure, my friend? If you calculate pressure from here, what you will get? 54. 4 cancel. What you will get? 5 megapascal. So this should be the pressure to get sigma A equal to sigma C. If the pressure is this much, then sigma A will be equal to sigma C. Do you understand this, my friend? Do you understand this? Very good, my friend. This is a question from GATE 2018. Okay, so there are similar type of questions. Try to solve them on your own. Okay, try to solve every question. Okay, you just need to remember the formula. So this is the end of pressure vessel. We have seen thin cylinder. We have seen thin sphere. Okay, thick cylinder and thick sphere. Thick pressure vessel is not in your syllabus. So forget about thick pressure vessel. Okay, their equations are completely different. I have told you the difference between the two. Okay, so this is the end of pressure vessel. We have one more lecture to go. Columns. Next lecture will be columns. After that, the syllabus of strength of material will be over, and then from 7th of May, we will start machine design, my friend. Concepts of machine design. Okay, this was the concept of strength of material. From 7th of May, we will start machine design, my friend. Okay, if you are liking these videos, if you are liking what I am teaching, please hit the like button and share these videos with all your friends, my friend. Okay, and my friend, we have just launched new subjects. We have just launched a new batch for GATE and engineering services. A new batch for GATE and engineering services. New batch for GATE and engineering services, and a new batch for SSC, JEE, AE, state exams, all state exams. Okay, separate batch. Okay, separate batch for GATE and engineering services, separate batch for state exams. Okay, there are two different batches. Right now they have started. Okay, only 1 or 2 days ago. So please join Unacademy Plus. These two courses are on Unacademy Plus. Okay, these two new batches are on Unacademy Plus. I will be teaching SOM, engineering mechanics, machine design, theory of machine on Unacademy Plus. If you want to learn from me all these subjects one by one in a completely sequential manner, everything, I will explain every concept. I will solve a lot of numerical. I will provide all the relevant study material. If you want to learn that, then join Unacademy Plus using my referral code. What is my referral code, my friend? Don't forget my referral code, APPROVE10. Okay, this is my referral code, APPROVE10. And if you have any doubt, if you are still confused whether to join Unacademy Plus or not, because a lot of students are confused right now whether to join Unacademy Plus or not, then please email me all your doubts and I will explain everything to you. I will explain what is the difference between Unacademy Plus and YouTube. I will explain what is the payment procedure. APPROVE 2008. APPROVE, APPROOP. APPROVE 2008. Okay. let me write it very clearly, very neatly. Otherwise, people have complained that they don't understand the meaning of my name. Okay, it is very hard to pronounce Aprup. So APUROOP, aprup2008@gmail.com. This is my email ID, my friend. So you can email me and I will explain everything to you. So if you have any doubt regarding Unacademy Plus, most of the students are thinking what is the difference between YouTube and Unacademy Plus. So I want to explain, my friend. See, YouTube is a one-way communication. Here you cannot communicate with your teacher. Okay, on Unacademy Plus you can communicate very easily, just like classroom. You will think that you are sitting in classroom. Okay, so you can send your questions. You will get doubt sessions after every 3 class. There is a doubt session on Unacademy Plus. Okay, and there are multiple learning. There is a batch for GATE and engineering services. There is a batch for state exam. You can attend any class. You have to take only one subscription. You can attend both the class. If you want, you can attend both the classes. Okay, you can attend any class you want. You can understand from any lecturer, any teacher. Okay, so if you want to join Unacademy Plus, a lot of students have already joined, and the subscription fee is not too much. It is only 22,500 after 10% discount. After 10% discount, 1 year subscription. You can take 1 month subscription also, but 1 year subscription only costs 22,500 rupees. If you divide it by 365, it will only cost 60 rupees per day. 60 rupees per day. In 60 rupees per day, you can learn amazing concepts from amazing teachers, rank 1, rank 2 holders. Okay, so if you want to join, don't forget to use this code to get 10% discount. And if you have any query, please email me and I will solve all your doubts. If you need my help for any payment procedure, if you don't understand procedure, because there is EMI option also. So if you want to take EMI option, if you don't understand the procedure, please email me and I will solve all your doubts. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and share this video. Okay, I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's topic will be columns. Okay, thank you very much.